The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to all the Uber hoes and Lyft Lotharios. This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the show. I am your host, comedian Billy Presida, and this week, holy shit, I'm not going to bury the lead here. This week I've got on the all-star, the rock star, the intersectional superhero, Feminista Jones, everybody, is on the show this week, and I cannot wait to share her with y'all in a bit. But first, get them hot, get them dates, show dates, get them hot. All right, everybody, Tour de Man Whore, as you know, tickets are on sale. You can get your pre-sale discounted tickets for just $10. Isn't it worth $10 to get me to a city near you? You know the deal. We sell 20 tickets in a city, and I'm coming to that city. But if you don't sell enough tickets by March 30th, I ain't coming there. And I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to the cities in the lead right now. Y'all want to know who's in the lead? Because I'm excited to see which city gets activated first. Right now, in the lead is Detroit. Shout out to Motown. Then we got a tie in second place with Chicago, Dallas, and Miami. In third place, we're at Washington, D.C. In fourth is Memphis and Pittsburgh. And fifth place is San Francisco. So those are the cities currently closest to activation. But hey, any of these cities can happen. All we got to do is sell 20 tickets. That means Portland can happen. That means Columbus, Ohio can happen. Minneapolis, which honestly I thought was going to be the first one to sell 20 tickets. Anything can happen. Okay, so just go to manwhorepod.com/tour. to bring me to a city near you. I swear to Mother Jesus, if on April 1st, I get an email saying, oh, hey, when are you going to come to Portland? And that person did not buy a pre-sale Portland ticket, I'm going to strangle them through my keyboard. manwhorepod.com/tour. And do you want to stay up to date with all the latest Man Whore podcast news? You want to know when Man Whore Con tickets are on sale? You want to know if there are any special deals or discounts for said Man Whore Con? Sign up for my mailing list. Go to manwhorepod.com and you'll see a nice little sign up button there. My guest, Feminista Jones, and I, we had a discussion. In our talk, we did discuss the concept of there are no heroes. Call out culture versus call in culture versus, cancel culture. No matter who you look up to, that person has done something shitty. I do find that the left, a lot of progressives, especially the sex positive world, does not take kindly to imperfect humans. The problem is, a lot of those people expressing that discontent are also imperfect humans. For those of you who do not follow, the super niche news of sex positive blogs, Franklin Vo was called out recently. It's been going on, I think, a couple weeks or so, something like that. I research enough to know what's going on. Don't research enough to write down a date. That gives you an idea. If you don't know who Franklin Vo is, neither does most of the country. But you might recognize his books. Franklin is one of the co-authors of More Than Two, which is considered kind of like the Poly New Testament. If the ethical slut is the Old Testament, More Than Two is considered like New Testament of the Poly Bible, right? Seen as a leader in the community. Well, someone posted an article or a blog post on Medium calling out and pointing out emotionally abusive behavior, some really shitty behavior that Franklin has allegedly committed against his past partners, plural. Look, you can read it. I'll put a link to the article in the show notes, but basically, probably a bit of a shitbag, maybe a bit duplicitous, probably an unethical twat. That may not seem super newsworthy, except if you only read the reactions to this news, if you only read what I read in certain Facebook group communities or what I see on Twitter, is a lot of people are devastated by this, hurt, saddened, not obviously for these for these past partners of his, but also this is a person who's held in high esteem and is a fallen star, so to speak. There are no heroes. And if you read these posts, if you read these tweets and stuff and read these reactions, you would think this guy was a serial rapist. The language used, a lot of abuser language was used in all these posts. And I hadn't read the initial post yet. So I just knew, oh, dude did something. And I've seen a picture of him. Honestly, I could have told everybody that the guy with unironic bunny ears is up to some shit. But then I read what the accusations were, and it was just, he seems to be a shitty partner. Now, that may seem like I'm diminishing what happened, but the problem is I was prepared for some horrific shit. The language around Franklin Vo is just like abuser. I hear abuser, I have thoughts in my head. I'm thinking sexual assault. I'm thinking a consent violation. I'm thinking, and this is what I don't like about the current climate of just call out culture, is that they overplay their hand. Because if I think like someone raped somebody and then I read that he was just a really, really, really shitty boyfriend, I'm going to go, oh, I guess he was only a piece of shit. If you had just told me, if you'd used the language of what he actually did, if you stopped trying to use a buzzword and just said, yeah, Franklin Vo does X, Y, and Z, I would be like, wow, what a twat. What a piece of shit. What I think you Brits would call a dumb cunt, right? But because I was given this one expectation and then the realization it was something lesser than, still terrible, still bad, still don't do that, still should maybe be yelled at a bit, but not as bad as the R word. When you set this expectation with your language and then this is the reality, I'm not going to be as outraged. I'm not going to have the same visceral reaction I would have had if you just said like, yo, this is like his pattern of behavior with like all of his past, with a lot of his past partners. Then we'd be like, wow, what a piece of shit. Instead of, oh, he's only a piece of shit. Do you see the difference? There are no heroes though. And I talk about this with Feminista Jones. You'll hear her describe, oh, if you saw my group chat, I'd be canceled so hard. And that's because we're imperfect beings. And I'm very weary of someone who holds moral high ground all the time. Let me put it this way. If you're spending most of your digital energy, not any, but most of, on call-outs for non-physically abusive behavior, I'm a little suspect of you. I'm like, what are you hiding? Let me get your phone unlocked for like a few hours. Give me the name of a few of your exes. Let's see what their chat logs look like with you, okay? I'm sure I can find some terrible, horrible things to screenshot. That doesn't mean I think you need to be put away. I think that just means you're imperfect. But those people, they don't live public lives. They live as public judges, but they do not live public lives. They keep the bad shit they do to themselves. They'll sometimes sprinkle out some like low grade bad stuff. They'll say, I misgendered someone who I did not use they them pronouns, and as soon as they told me, I totally used it. It's like, that's not your worst thing. That's not the worst thing you've ever done. Whatever the worst thing you've done is, you keep that to yourself. You don't put that on the internet. And I'm not saying I'm some sort of like role model, but I do try to live publicly, and that means failing and succeeding publicly. As many of you who follow me on Twitter know. But I think it discredits things when you are overplaying your hand and saying this guy's an abuser, this guy's an abuser. I'm not saying emotional abuse is an abuse. But it's so disingenuous to say that, because when you say the word abuser or you say abuse, there's an image in our heads. We're picturing physical crimes. I would never try to manipulate people by saying that my ex, abused me. She didn't. She emotionally abused me, and I will always say emotionally abused. As she will probably say, I emotionally abused her. And you know why we're saying that full phrase? Because just the word abuse has an image in our heads. And it's not fair to make people think it's one thing and then it's not. And then we're just not going to take it as seriously. It's like when your mom sits you down and is like, look, I have something to tell you. Just got back from the doctor. And, we're going to figure out how to work around this. And like she starts building up. And you're like, fuck, mom's got cancer. And then she just says like, I'm going to get some minor surgery on my knee and I'm going to need you to drive me around a little bit for the next couple of weeks. Oh, now I could have had a more appropriate reaction to your knee, but now I'm thinking like, whatever. It's just a minor knee thing. Mom's not dying. Warm vibes to the women going through this with Franklin Vo publicly and privately. That can't be easy or fun, especially in such a niche, small community as the sex positive community. So, wishing y'all some strength. And the people who are being really loud on your behalf, I wish they were better ambassadors for you. This week, we've got one hell of a show with Feminista Jones. Holy shit. And this is coming after last week's also killer episode with Mandy B from the Horrible Decisions podcast. I don't know if you remember, but Mandy B was saying like, she really wants to see some porn with black men getting pegged. That was the type of porn she wanted to see because she doesn't fuck white guys. She likes using strap-ons. And she's like, I'm having trouble finding this porn. And I was trying to tell her, hotmovies.com has got everything. Everything. It's all there. I said, hey, you want black dudes getting pegged by black women? I can find that at hotmovies.com, which is also our wonderful, awesome, feel-good sponsor of the Man Whore podcast. Yeah, hotmovies.com not only is an affordable, ethical way to hashtag pay for some of your porn as a pay-per-minute porn site, but like it's also just, I love their search function. I searched black men pegging, and what did I find? Strap-on black bitches, do dat booty time. Released in 2006 by Extraordinary Pictures. So that's what I'm saying. You can find anything you want at hotmovies.com. And Hot Movies wants to give you some bonus minutes because you listen to the Man Whore podcast and you like to support the brands that support me. And this one ain't even asking for your money yet. They want to give you a 40-minute free trial. Yes, all you got to do is go to hotmovies.com, sign up for the free trial, and use promo code MANWHORE. That'll turn your 20-minute trial into a 40-minute trial. And hey, if you're ready right now to put your money where your balls are and you want to get some minutes, use promo code MANWHORE and you will get 20 extra minutes on top of any package you sign up for. One more time, that's hotmovies.com, promo code MANWHORE for 20 extra minutes. You can go watch strap-on black bitches do dat booty time, which honestly sounds like the name of like a parody song in Tropic Thunder. I don't know. All right, everybody. Before I get to my guest this week, Feminista Jones, it's time for the Fan Whore Appreciation Moment. Gonna do that real quick. Yeah, this is the part of the podcast where I like to thank a couple of fan whores who support the Man Whore podcast by hashtag pay for your content on Patreon. Patreon is a fan club subscription service, so you get to become a member of my fan club and receive a slew of great rewards, including bonus episodes of the Man Whore podcast, access to sex-positive discussion groups on Facebook and Kick, and you get a shout-out here on the show. So right now I want to give a shout-out to Justin Senda. What's up? Yeah, you're very well received in the Peep Show. I've been noticing, especially on Flagpole Friday. Welcome to the club, buddy. Thanks for supporting the show. Also want to give a thanks to King Lef. I want to send a big non-sexual hug your way, sir. Whether you want that non-sexual hug or not. Okay, that's not cool to say, but look, he knows what I'm talking about, even if you don't, everybody. Hey, dude, thank you for your penance. Glad you're enjoying the show. And you too can become a member of my Fan Whore community for as little as $1 a month. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And now for this week's guest, Feminista Jones. I feel like when you say her name, you should be actually saying Feminista fucking Jones. FJ's in the house, everybody. Oh my gosh, if you do not follow her on Twitter, you need to right this second pull up your Twitter app, or Instagram or Facebook and go click like, go click follow. But you need to be following this woman. She is not only so much fun, but she's just a wealth of information and knowledge about so many awesome topics, whether it's sexuality, intersectional feminism, social justice, activism, sliding into Instagram DMs. She low key seems to know all about that. I had so much fun. I went out to Philadelphia to record with her. This is kind of a big get for me, at least. Big fan of what she does. She's got a new book out right now called Reclaiming Our Space, which you can go get at reclaimingourspace.com. And now let's get to my conversation with Feminista fucking Jones.
Oh, you got to go to the hood. No, you definitely have to go to the hood.
Why? What happens?
That's
in
where
the
you
hood?
get all the good stuff. Like, you know, and it's unfortunate because like there's obviously disparities. You know, you go into the upper class kind of dancing joints and there's no touching and it costs more and things like that. You go to the hood spots, you get you a longer lap dance for less money, and it's probably a body that looks better. So, you know, I don't know. I like the hood spots. So.
But then how do you differentiate between like taking advantage of that disparity?
Right, exactly. For me, I just feel like these women that are generally dancing in those spots don't have access to the other spots. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't feel like I'm taking advantage and I give more, you know, so I feel more comfortable. I would rather give a black stripper, you know, $100 than, you know, and knowing that she's not going to get access to the club that'll automatically probably make her $1,000 a night. I'd rather just do that. And it's more fun. The environment is more comfortable. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird negotiation. So
yeah, for someone with as many principles as you, I feel like
I don't have that many principles.
No? You see, I don't know. From your Twitter feed, it seems like you got a lot.
I do. You know what? So here's the thing. It's like when and I talk about this like in my book about this idea of Twitter platforms kind of being like a pulpit, right? Mm-hmm. And when we get to say what comes to our mind, we get to say our own thoughts about what's going on. And when you are kind of in these echo chambers, which a lot of us are in, it's the same conversations, right? And so it may seem like, wow, this person is really, you know, convicted about a lot of things. But really, if you count it, I'm only talking about like 3 or 4 different things. When it comes to other stuff, you know, a lot of stuff that you choose what you share, right? So stuff that I may not share as openly, you know, people have no idea about. A lot of people don't know that I gamble regularly, you know, don't know that I'm good at it. Right. You know, so I don't necessarily like go on Twitter and say, hey guys, I just took $150 that, you know, you all donated to me and turned it into $500 because I don't want people to think I'm being like wasteful or what have you. But
see, my version of that is I don't want to say, hey, I took that, you know, that $500 and then lost it.
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, you pick and choose what it is, but you will, because of that, anyone will seem really principled because we decide what it is we're going to share. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're going to share the things that make us look good. Yeah. Right. I write about that as well. This idea of a problematic favorite, right? This person that you look up to and admire who may say these problematic things or do these problematic things. And I think that, you know, with all this talk of like cancel culture and stuff, I don't think that it pushes people to necessarily learn or be better. I think that it pushes people to be more silent, right? Because that's what social mores have always been about. When we talk about racism right now, like, and it's maybe a little off track, but when we talk about like Trump and racism and all this stuff, and, you know, people are just being so openly racist and whatever. I was like, well, these people have always been racist, but there was a time where it was really not cool to be publicly racist, you know, like, and that's kind of how social mores work. We shame people into silencing their bigotry. But with social media coming about and people being able to be anonymous, we're being reminded exactly who people are. And we are flawed. And I think that there's this expectation of perfection that I'm like, if you guys hung around me for a day, you would either be like, wow, she's really real and I like her even more. Or you'd be like, I'm so disappointed in you.
Right. There are no heroes. Like there are no heroes.
No.
And I think that even the people who like to do the calling out, like if I had their phone, I could find plenty of shitty text messages.
Oh my gosh! Don't ever look at a group chat, right? My friend posted on Facebook. It's like, if your group chat isn't like a burn book, are you really even friends? And it's like, I'm not going to put this thought on Twitter because I have 150 whatever thousand followers, and some of them are going to be like really pissed off. And it's like, not that I'm necessarily saying anything horrible, but I just don't want to deal with it.
Sure.
Because I've learned that everything I say is going to offend somebody somewhere, even if I don't mean to. And it's helpful when people like give me feedback and say, you know what, FJ, just want to let you know, you may not be aware, but this is problematic in this way, versus, I hope you die, bitch. Like, I hope you fall off of the roof, bitch, and die tomorrow. I'm like, well, wait, what did I do?
It's such a creative, yell.
Like, I didn't know, I've had that, like, things with, related to, transgender people, things related to indigenous native folks, like this whole, like, bottom of the totem pole thing. I didn't know that was offensive to people. And I had someone say, FJ, that's something that's kind of offensive to us. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this. And just thinking about how our language is, I was like, I won't say that anymore. And it's that simple. But then it could have gone a different way, which I think happens a lot with folks. And it's like, you stupid bitch, you should know better that it's not a totem pole. And then somebody gets defensive and they're like, well, I'm gonna fucking say totem pole anytime I want. It's a reaction when people are backed against the wall. And we have this expectation that everyone is going to be challenged with grace and that they're going to respond in kind. That's not how humans work, So when you have a lot of visibility, you have to be very mindful of your reaction, because sometimes people come at me and I really want to be like, I hope you fucking choke, you stupid motherfucker. But I can't type that. Yeah. So I go to my group chat and I'll screenshot and I say, I hope this person fucking dies and chokes, We're all problematic in that way.
Yeah. I do. I like to do that too. I like to, if I have a tweet I want to send out, I just like, I'm going to just text that to somebody. Sometimes I just need to type it and hit send somewhere.
Yep.
And this doesn't have to be to everybody.
Just to get it out, because, and if you put it out in a space where you have so many eyes on you, it can make or break you, right? If you're the wrong person. And I find that Black women are the ones who receive it the worst. If you think of like this whole thing right now with Liam Neeson and him coming forward and saying, I used to fantasize about killing Black men because my friend told me she was raped by a Black person, versus, Jamel Hill tweeting something like, get your hand out my pocket. Now they're all saying she's trying to kill the president. And it's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, and she's apologizing, and then she's got hundreds of responses, telling her, I'm calling the Secret Service on you and all this other stuff. But these same people are saying, well, he at least he admitted it. We should forgive him. And no.
See, maybe that's the echo chamber, because like my feed is not saying maybe we should forgive him. I like to think of like, I think we should contextualize what was said and take it in accordingly. But my echo chamber of Twitter is a lot of like, he was trending for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And that's why I almost like purposefully follow a lot of different types of people. Oh, thank you. I will try to catch up. Well, the wine pouring you just heard
we've killed a bottle of wine.
Salute. From the wonderful Feminista Jones.
Yes, we are drinking wine.
Yeah. When you're saying how like, there's people being quiet now, that's what Chappelle's talking about in the Bird Revelation. He's talking about, it's like, we can yell at them, but if there's no room for them to, come out and admit what happened and us to work through that, then everyone's just going to be quiet. He's, and then he compared it to apartheid. He's like, everyone just came and said what they did.
The Truth and Reconciliation Committee. No, I think what's interesting, it's so nuanced, right? And particularly because I'm existing at this intersection of, Black and woman. And so we look at a situation like what's happening in Virginia right now, right? You've got these people that were found to have worn blackface, right? But then you have a Black man who's being accused of sexual assault. And I tweeted, I was like, listen, Black women, you don't have to answer this because they're going to gaslight you. It's okay. You don't have to give an opinion, because it's like, you've got the blackface issues over here, which affect us as Black people. And then you've got the sexual assault of a woman that affects us as women. And you're going to have.
And there's a third one. The next one down also had something out too, right? Like, I don't even know what that was.
It's so much stuff. And it's just kind of like, well, what's the standard? Is it wrong to be, violent and bigoted and treat people wrong, or is it not? Because if that's the standard that we're using, then we need to look at Fairfax's, sexual assault accusation with the same care and concern as we're looking at Northam's blackface or, whoever else is. And it's like, as Black women, it's this negotiation. It's like, we're expected to choose one or to prioritize one. And it's like, we want to do both, but I'm telling, like, let's do neither. Cause fuck it. Like, we're always doing all this work. And so why? And so I'm watching this whole thing, and I'm watching people who were upset at Northam talk about, well, it's just an accusation, and how do we know what happened, and were we there, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, well, Northam's telling you that he doesn't even know it was him. Why aren't you saying the same thing about him? You automatically believe and condemn him, because even though he's saying it may not have been me, Fairfax is saying I may not have done that, and you believe him. So what is happening there? And so for me, I'm just like, you know what? This is why I keep wine in the house. That's why I keep wine in the house, and why I smoke, and I go on about my business.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have a nice sweatpants day on a Thursday.
That's it. And it's funny because now that I've been working from home, it's like, I started the book tour. My book is Reclaiming Our Space, How Black Feminists Are Changing the World from the Tweets to the Streets, by the way. And it came out last week, doing very well. Book tour started this week, and I had 3 instances where I had to go and like do these talks, and I had to put on real clothes. It's been a while because I quit my job in December.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. And so I was like, well, I'm going to take January to kind of rest because I know what's coming. I know that I have like all this stuff coming up. And I've been doing the leggings and sweats thing every day. It's been the best ever. I have like this command post on my couch, which you are now enjoying. Each side reclines. It's all set up to be like amazing. I got my space heater.
You don't even have to tell me you quit your job or you're about to do a book tour to do that. You just have to like... I just have to see your Twitter feed and your interactions. I'd be like, that's enough reason to take a month to relax.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? Cause I'm turning 40 this year, and I have had a job in some capacity since I was 14 and reporting to other people, clocking in kind of thing. And, I feel like I've paid my debt to society, like being a social worker. I feel like I've done a lot, and now I can focus on one of my passions, which is writing. And so it all kind of lined up pretty well. The adjustment, though, into kind of not having any obligations is a mind fuck. Yeah. It is a mind fuck. Like, you don't have to set your alarm for 7:30 in the morning to get up.
Kind of like being college again.
Right.
Yeah.
But even with college, like, I had a full load and I worked.
Yeah, but you didn't have to go to class.
I didn't have to go to class.
No one's going to wake you up and make you go.
If I didn't want to fail, right? Like if I didn't want to fail, I had to go. But it's a similar idea, and it's kind of like, but I don't have homework, right?
Right.
Listen, when you graduate and you finish school and you don't have homework due, that is like the most. You're like, wait a minute, I don't have to read. I don't have a paper, and then you go back to grad school and you're like, oh fuck, But I'm in this space, like I've spent the last month being like, what the fuck? I don't have to set an alarm. I don't have to get up if I don't want to. I can lay in bed for 2 hours and tweet if I want. And I don't have anything to do until 3 p.m. this afternoon. And it's been a tough adjustment.
You know what's fucked up about that is when you're lying in bed you're like, oh, I'll just tweet for 2 hours. You can just be like, I'm working. This is technically work.
It's still work. And then I'm struggling because it's like, I feel like I have to do something. Like I have to create something. I have to write a blog. I have to write an article or whatever, because I feel like, I've internalized that if you don't work, you're worthless kind of American value that we put onto people. And I'm saying to myself, I'm learning now. It's like, girl, you can go do a speaking. You can go speak to some college kids for like less than an hour and make $6,000. And then go home for a week and relax. Do it. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should be doing something else. And, so I started driving Uber.
Like, wait, just for shits?
Just for shits.
That's hilarious.
Shits and fucking giggles. I drive Uber now. And I told my timeline, and you're like, oh my God, I wish I could get you as my Uber driver. I'm like, well, if you ain't tipping, I ain't really trying to hear that shit. But I don't, there's no real money to be, for me at least, because I don't do it enough. Sure. I do it maybe twice a week. Sure. I like to, my friends were like, you got to get out the house. And you work from home, you sit in front of your computer. And I was like, no, I got to get out the house and talk to people. I started realizing I wasn't moving my mouth. Yeah. So I decided to drive Uber. And let me tell you, that shit is wild. I used to be an Uber rider, and now I'm on the other side, and I'm like, this is wild. The men that hit on you, the people that don't tip, the people that want to stop at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, like, I'm like, this is wild, but it's really interesting.
You might be the second person I've ever heard of that people want, like, go like, oh, I hope I get this person.
Mm-hmm.
There is a woman on Reddit, Twitter, Tumblr, etc. Maybe not Tumblr anymore now. She is known, I think her name's like Jen Dwar something. She's in Seattle and she drives a blue Prius and she posts these stories about, like, basically she just sluts it out as an Uber driver.
Yeah.
Like, she just drives Uber and just, like, randomly, like, will blow certain passengers or dudes will hit on her and she'll be like, okay, like, and she'll take them, like, she'll drop them off and then go and fuck up and, like, shares these incredible stories.
Oh,
So
I have a series called Uber Chronicles.
Really?
Yeah, on my Patreon. So now I'm writing about it and it's really, like, people love it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
Wait, so have you picked up writers? Like, have you hooked up with writers?
No. Like, I had to think about no. You know, it's really I've gotten hit on though.
Well, you exist in the world. I just
Of course,
assume that happens.
you know, and it's really interesting because I go in sweats. Like, I roll out the bed, brush my teeth, you know, wash up a little bit, put on my sweats, get my coffee, and get in my car. And you know, I had this one man hit on me while his daughter was there, and I was pissed off. I gotta admit, you know, it bothered me because the ride was fine. He's taking her to school. I'm all thinking to myself, here's a good dude taking his daughter to school and stuff like that. And on his way out, he's like, so you married? And I was just like, no. And he was like, do you want to be? And I was just like, and his daughter, his like 5-year-old daughter is like standing right there, like observing this. And I'm like, dude, what example are you setting for her? You know?
What expectations are you laying out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you could have just easily just got out my car, you know? And, there was a guy this morning that I was driving and he was great conversation the whole time. And he was like, yeah, you know, I got to give you 5 stars. You're amazing. I'm going to give you a nice tip. And I was like, well, thank you. He's like, so you think I could get your phone number? And I was like, no. and so there was no tip, you know, but I just was like, wow, this is what we have to deal with. I'm just driving Uber.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of my friends bought me some pepper spray and said he's going to give it to me. So we'll see what happens.
I don't understand why people think that's going to be a thing that we're like, I get that this, like, so that Seattle woman, like, exists, but that's not the norm. That is one person I've ever heard of who, like, actively is like, no, I am the slutty Uber driver. That's my brand.
I love it.
Who else is, that's not, I just don't get,
I'm
well,
not
when they lead
doing
with
that.
marriage, when they go like, yo, like, want to get married, like, I don't get why
Well, no,
that's a pickup line.
that's a Philly thing, and a lot of that. And then it's funny. Here's an education moment for your readers. So Philadelphia has like the largest population of Black Muslims in a large city, right? And so a lot of Philadelphia culture is influenced by Muslim culture. And what I've learned is that these men, when they approach women, it's, are you married? Because the assumption is that you're married, either your first wife, second wife, third wife, or whatever. And so they don't even ask, are you single? It's, are you married? And that's their approach. And so that's more of a cultural thing here in Philadelphia. And if you're not married, it's, you know, all bets are off. You're open to everybody. And so that's what they lead with. I've learned that, you know, so.
Are you saying, like, so being a single Black woman in Philly, they'll think like you're just game for anything?
Yeah.
In the same way, would you say, as like, say when like a poly chick is like, oh, I'm poly, they're like, oh, she's a slut. She's down to bang.
Yeah, no,
It's like,
same. Like when I would identify as bi, and I mean, I transitioned to pansexual because I had gained better understanding. Yeah, no, they think that you're just down for whatever, that you're gonna fuck anybody possible, like, you know, and it's like, only if I choose to. Yeah. You know, I talk openly about sex and sexual. I stopped counting partners at 100. Once I got to 100, I was like, fuck it. Who needs to count anymore? You know? And that's a mix of, you know, all various genders or whatever. But I think I am benefiting from ageism at this point. Because I'm nearly 40, I'm looking older and what have you. And so people are not coming at me in the same way.
I don't know. I think now you just get the young, like some of the older dudes will stop and now the younger ones will be like targeting.
No, it's so it's really funny. It's both of those. It's not men my age. Yeah. It's the men in their 50s that want a younger woman, quote unquote.
Or it's dudes in my age.
The younger dudes who are like, well, I love older women. I'm like, well, what do you love about older women? Oh, well, they know what they want and, you know, they're all confident and everything and they take care of themselves. I was like, oh, so you're cheap. Okay. All right. That's what you're basically saying is you're broke and you're cheap and you're looking for a sugar mama. I was like, there's nothing you can give me outside of your dick. So if we're not having any, you know, you're trying to have conversation, so I'm on Tinder, right?
Oh God.
I am on Tinder. I don't know why I'm on Tinder. Maybe it's the sadist in me. I just like fucking with dudes' minds. But like I'm on Tinder and
You have Twitter for that.
I got Twitter for that. No, but this I can do really fun. And so like there were these two guys that were just like really trying to meet me, and I'm like talking to her like, I've never encountered anyone like you. I'm like, I know. And they're like, well, can I take you out? And I'm like, sure. And then like 2 hours before I was like, nah, I don't want to go. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm busy. They're like, oh, well, that sucks. Well, can I? No, I don't want to reschedule. Well, I didn't even get a chance to I don't want to do this. And then they're just like all mad and stuff. And I'm like, it's funny to me. I don't want to date anyone.
Do you just like seeing the entitlement just like drag them down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they don't take no for an answer. Right. I can say, well, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. You go on your way. I'll get 5 more text messages saying, well, why not? Well, you didn't even give me a chance. Well, what about this? Well, fine. You're fucking ugly anyway. Okay.
I don't understand the arguing, and I'll be honest. Like I don't think I ever. I will say I rarely got to like the angry stage, but I would often get to that most of the time when I was, especially in like my early 20s, it would be like that inquisitive of the why not.
Yeah.
But then I realized like, what am I going to do with that information? Like, am I going to argue you into fucking me? Like, that's not fun.
But that's kind of how it goes, right? That coercion part. And I've talked a lot about that. It's like we almost teach boys and men that coercion is foreplay. Right. And that if a woman volunteers sex, something must be wrong with her. So if you're able to coax it out of her, that makes sex more fun. Right. Tupac said, I don't want it if it's that easy. And I think that that's our culture, like what we teach when we talk about rape culture. Oh, rape culture doesn't exist. I get what you're saying. We're not teaching boys to rape, but we are teaching them to, 1, not take no for an answer. 2, to be persistent, because women love persistence. Right. When really what's happening is that you're wearing them down and you're just like, well, fuck it. You won't get out my face. I might as well. And there are men who take that as a win. And I'm like, I don't know. I fuck women too. And I kind of want them to be enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
I don't want a woman to be like, all right, whatever. I want her to be like, hell yeah. And I'm like, I'm trying to understand, like, men, why don't you want the hell yeah too? Yeah. Why is okay, fine, whatever acceptable?
Like maybe it's because I don't have abs, so like I assume no one wants to fuck me.
I don't have abs either.
Well, I'm saying it's like I never assume someone wants to be in bed with me, so I actually really need to. I need to know.
You need to know why
that they want to hook up with me.
Yeah, they want to hook up. Well, consent is sexy. We're trying to change that.
Right. Well, consent. The difference between like the consent is sexy, like okay, like they are agreeing to doing this versus like I want them to do this. I think both are allowable and consensual. I just think one is better sex.
I hear you.
But I've literally stopped in the middle of something and be like, hey, you don't seem into this. Like, what's up? Like, are you nervous? Are you not into me? Like, I'll stop a hookup just to be like, do a check-in.
That's what you're supposed to do. So you're a good guy for that.
Don't worry. I'm a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're a good piece of shit.
Yeah,
because most don't do that, right? And I think what's important is that the body language, like. I've been a woman for almost 40. I've been a girl body, whatever, for almost 40 years, and I realized that I feel responsible for communicating either body language or verbally because I'm like, these dudes are just not getting it.
Yeah.
You can put on shades, headphones, and walk fast. They don't read that as she doesn't want to talk to me. They read that as I gotta try harder. Yeah. And it's like, what else do I have to say? So it's interesting, and I've kind of gotten to this place of like, you got to give me a reason to write you into my schedule because shit, I got things to do. And if you're not paying me, what the fuck, dude?
Right. Well, then I would say, like, when did you get that confidence to be able to like say in the middle of something what you wanted or that you didn't want something anymore? Or, was there someone in your life who taught you that at a super young age? Like, when were you able to advocate?
Honestly, I think I'm still working on that, right? Because, I have had my negative sexual experiences, but I think that, because I'm an Aries, I get bored quickly.
Oh, don't tell me you believe in the.
I do. But here's
now
the thing.
I'm not disappointed that you might be problematic. I'm disappointed you believe in that.
Oh
stuff.
no! Well, you know what? Here's the thing. So I grew up in the church.
Okay.
And I was like, well, if I can believe that a talking snake told a woman to eat an apple, then I should be able to believe some other weird things.
Or you could believe neither.
I could believe neither, right?
You could.
But you know what? I think that I've always been a kind of like the universality of things, but I do have this personality where I'm just kind of like, I do get bored super quickly. And it's like, you got to catch me quick. And even that's with sex too. It's like, you got about 3 good minutes to convince me that I need to do this.
You're talking like in the bedroom type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Like, or just even talking to you. It's
Sure.
like, you got 3 whole minutes to convince me
Open
that
strong.
fucking you is what I want to do. And because I think about my schedule and it's like, I don't have time. So if I'm going to make time for you, it better be worth it. And so I got to schedule sex these days. It's fucking pathetic.
It's not pathetic. I've been scheduling sex for
I have to
years. It's
schedule
so much
sex.
more efficient.
It is efficient. It's efficient as
Because even if
fuck.
I'm not in the mood to fuck, I might be down to do something like
I'm
going to
make myself be in the mood. Like it's like I got Monday morning. What are you doing? Because it's gotten to that point. But I think for me, as I reached a certain point, I think it was about 8:35 when I was just like, you know what, the casual sex thing, it just bores me, and it bores me more because I don't think that I'm on the same level with the people that I was having sex with. They wanted more from me than I wanted to give. I just wanted to fuck. Yeah. And they wanted more. And so for me, that whole kind of performance of, oh, sure, I'll see you again, really pissed me off. So I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this. So I'd rather just not bother. And I have a really great vibrator. I can find the porn that I want in less than 20 minutes. I know that's a win. And I just go on about my business, quite frankly. So
That's unfortunate.
no, it's fine. You know, the other thing is groupies. I don't know how it happened, how you become somebody who, like, on social media or as a writer, who knew that writers had groupies?
I feel like there have been groupies for writers ever since, like, you know, Walt Whitman and them.
Really?
Walt Whitman was out banging boys all over Lower
This is
Manhattan.
true.
You know,
this is actually
you know,
true.
he's got those beautiful poems like "I Can Tame Multitudes." Come find out.
Scott Fitzgerald was out there too, you know. But I didn't. I mean, obviously, I'm a Black woman writer, and it's like I didn't realize that there would be people that were kind of like sprung, and so I have people in my like Instagram DMs and Twitter messages.
Instagram DMs are absurd. I currently don't have my
Completely.
Instagram because Fosta Sesta, and I'm working on that.
Right on.
I haven't had mine since they took like a bunch of them down right after
Wow,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
so
that's real. A number of folks I know were affected by that. Yeah.
yeah, but like the DM slides, I was like, wait, I get like, yeah, I've slid in, but like I'm gonna get slid? Really?
Yeah.
What?
I have never. I think I slid in one person's DMs and we ended up in a 4-year relationship. But I get these people, and so I'm a sadist, right? I identify definitely as a sadist, and I'm very much an emotional sadist when it comes to men. And so they'll say, you know, hey, beautiful. I'll be like, what do you want?
Be still my heart, by the way.
They'll be like, well, I just wanted to let you know that you're beautiful. I'm like, I know. They're like, well, can I get to know you? No. You know, and I'm just, it's fun for me.
Bad
But
openers.
I did not think that I would have that. And so now when I do these speaking engagements and I go on a book tour and stuff, people are coming up to me and they're nearly fainting and they're just like, oh my God, they're sliding phone numbers to me. I was like, what the hell is going on? and I'm going home by myself. So
But then you don't even need to schedule sex. You just know on the calendar, I got this speaking engagement. I know if I want to get laid, there'll be someone in the audience.
A friend of mine just said, you know, well, now that you're about to be in all these cities, you can make something happen. I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Let me see what's popping in these cities. I'm going to Des Moines. Maybe there's dick in Des Moines.
Allegedly, there's dick in Des Moines.
There's dick everywhere.
Yeah, but do you really think about what you think Des Moines dick is, and do you really want that?
I don't.
You want to get like just the one black dude in Des Moines?
Funny. So I try not to be discriminatory, but
try not to.
I
I just
try
listened
not
to
to,
you on Inner
but I
Ho
don't.
Uprising being very clear.
I'm just not.
very explicitly like, I ain't banging white boys.
You know what? Let me tell you something now. So this one white dude on Tinder, he had potential. Then he told me he was moving to Florida, and I was like, well, what the fuck are you on Tinder for right now? You moving to Florida next month? Deactivate. He had potential. He was a South Philly white.
Potential. What?
A South Philly white.
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
What's a South Philly
a South
white?
Philly white.
This feels like I'm in my living room with my roommates and
it's
they have
fine.
to explain things
So
to
a
me.
South Philly white is probably somebody who has a high school diploma or a GED. Probably went to a technical school of some sort, vocational, works with his hands. Probably has a good tan because he's out and, you know, doing construction. He loves the Eagles. He probably has some racist tendencies, but he loves fucking black chicks.
Like racist tendencies because he doesn't know better, not because he has.
No, because he's a
like,
fucking racist. No, he's got a hate in his heart.
Okay.
And he probably fucks black chicks, which means he's probably really great in bed.
Oh, no.
It probably means he's really great in bed.
Don't at me.
No, right? Don't at me. But I was just, he had like brown hair and like dark eyes and so I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. I had the Benicio del Toro thing going on, and I was like, oh, maybe this will be the first time. And then he was like, I'm moving to Florida. I was like, see, that was a sign to just stick with it. But I gotta be honest. I'm not in a dating space, but I am open to anyone. Because at this point, having been married, having been in whatever relationships, I've come to realize that it's like, I know what I want, and that can come in any person. So if I was actually like really open to finding love, for example, I would not be as discriminatory as I was maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas like 2 months ago?
2 months ago.
That Inner Oho Uprising episode was really recent.
But it's so true. Okay, so listen. People change.
That's why I try to tell people, but they don't believe
me. No, but I mean, if I'm talking about sex, it's one thing. But if I'm talking about like that kind of companionship thing, if I'm going to be honest, I'm just kind of at an age. It's like, are you cool? You respect me? You willing to like do fun shit? Then cool.
Do you think that the not wanting to fuck white dudes when you were younger came from more of like an activist-y headspace than like actual desire?
I'm gonna be real honest. Like, trigger warning, I was sexually assaulted by white men.
Okay.
So that was a hard stop for me. It's like, that is a very triggering thing. But the fucked up thing is I've also been sexually assaulted by black men. So it's like, why do I have that? Right. And that's definitely something that I've been really trying to work on processing. It's like, maybe because we come up in this like idea that white men have been raping black women for centuries, but I'm like, so have black men. So why do I have this? Right. And I think it's this like cultural affinity that's kind of ingrained in you, defend them at all costs. But I'm unpacking a lot of that and I'm working through a lot of that. So, again, we talk about problematic. It's like, I'm human.
Yeah.
I have the right to kind of negotiate these things in my mind and settle on something that makes me feel good. That's it. Bottom line. So if there's a white dude that wants to take me out and spend his money on me and give me great back shots, he might be the one.
A back shot?
Back shots.
What's a back shot?
Oh, you come the fuck on. You know what a back shot is.
Look,
Face down, ass up.
I didn't know. The amount of times I have to ask my roommates, like, what's that mean? And they'll be like, you're fucking with me. I'm like, I swear, I don't know. I'm very lame.
I definitely, I love the doggy style. So if you can handle that with all this ass, then you might be a winner.
Oh man, doggy style changed for me when I realized, and I said this recently on the show, I was like, when I learned that I could put one knee up.
Yes.
Game changer.
Yes.
I was like, wait, I can get so much deeper and thrust better.
You can do both too. Like both. I fuck women with straps, right? So
I'm talking.
Like, no, I know
this.
Yeah, but you can do both.
But then you can do this.
You can do that and hold on.
Well, that takes a lot of ass strength that I gotta do a lot of leg days to prepare for. I'm saying I don't. You don't. Well, you don't. You do.
No, I can get
like 30 seconds of the 2 foot flat,
and you got to give your all in that 30 seconds.
I do.
But I think for me, and I mean, I don't know who you be fucking, but like I fuck women with big asses, so it's fun, and I love that. I love giving and I love receiving that. So. But the thing is, it's funny because like I'm about to turn 40. You're talking about the sexual peak of women 35 to 40 or whatever. And it's very true. I'm like horny all the time, but at the same time, I'm so discerning because I'm just like, who do I let in my house, first of all? Yeah. Much less my bed. Do I have the time for this? What are you going to be asking me for after? And then between all of that, I'm just like, fuck it. No, I'm good. I'm good. So.
Do you have like some regular casual partners you can at least rely upon?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, then, I mean,
that's good.
If you got like 1 or 2 good fuck buddies, like that's all.
I schedule. I can schedule it, and that's all that it is. And I'm not asked for more than I'm willing to give, and I get what I need, and it's good. Yeah. So I'm busy right now, so
yeah. It was interesting. You brought up the not wanting to like stick with black men versus the white men. And this all just, I rewatched Bird Revelation last night again for the umpteenth time. And that was another aspect he brought up, was that he's like, black women since slavery won't tell on us.
Yeah, we won't. And that's why like sexual assault of black women is so underrepresented. When you look at something like what's happening with R. Kelly, right? The ways in which people are condemning all of these.
Why is everyone mad now? But sorry to interrupt, but like, why? It's like I watched Boondocks like 10 years ago.
We've been mad forever, and it's like now it's getting the traction, right? Because now, when you watch the documentary that came on Lifetime, for example, while we were mad, a lot of these women were still involved with him. So it's almost like a cult, right? That you have to kind of get out of it, and then like the brain, deprogramming, and to finally get to a place of being like, okay, I'm confident to talk about this. So I think that's part of it. It's like without the women speaking about it, we had videos, but we didn't have as much to go on. So now people are, and I learned this. You're a different white, because most white people were really like, I had no idea about this, because
I was a big Boondocks fan.
Boondocks is one thing, but like all white people really knew was I Believe I Can Fly and the Ignition remix. Sure. Somehow y'all caught that. But he was y'all caught the
remix. It was so low-key condescending.
Yeah, but it was like the spring break anthem, right. It's the remix to Ignition. Y'all love that shit. But between that and I Believe I Can Fly, that's what white people knew of R. Kelly. They didn't really know the rest of it, so they didn't really care. And his victims were not white girls or white women, so they damn sure didn't care. Right. But now it's like on Front Street, right? And Lifetime, which is the network known for exposing psychotic white men, is featuring this thing.
I was on Lifetime.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Psychotic white man or no?
White
yeah,
man.
Well, look at that. There you go. So you have proven my point. I'm going to tweet that. I just met one of the psychotic white men from Lifetime, y'all. Proving my point. No, but I mean, I think that it's what it takes people to care about. And I've written about this, like the missing white girl syndrome, right? White girl goes missing, the world stops. 24/7 news cycle. We have over 60,000 black girls and women missing in this country right now. That's 0.03% of the black girl women population. If 0.03% of the white girl population was missing, do you think that any of this other shit we'd be talking about? No. We'd be on a mission to find every single one of them. So this whole R. Kelly thing, you think about someone like Floyd Mayweather. Never met a woman he didn't beat in the face, right? But yet people love watching him box. I'm like, well, who the fuck you think he practices on, right? So it's like, we know these things. We talk about these things, but people don't care. Let Floyd Mayweather get a white girlfriend and punch her in the face. He'll lose everything.
All of it.
He would lose everything, right? So as a black woman, that's the struggle that we have, is that one, we're not willing to turn black men in because of like these racist issues. But then two, it's like, unless the victim is a white person, it's like whatever.
I had a guest on the show recently, one of my past partners, who like, she used to do sex work, and she had a very, very negative experience. And so she actually would feel guilty because she's pro the movement. She had a bad experience.
Yeah.
So she would feel bad sharing her story because she thought it would be bad for the movement. So it was this like not telling black men thing, kind of like, well, I don't want to hurt the cause.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's the Coretta Scott King story, right? So Dr. King was cheating on her left and right, but she committed to not divorcing him because she knew what divorce would mean for the movement. So I look at Coretta Scott King as like this woman who endured all of this stuff that he was doing to disrespect her as his wife, because she thought of the greater good.
Sure.
And so when you think about that, it's just like, holy fuck, this woman sacrificed that much. I have a friend, I actually know two women that were sexually assaulted by Russell Simmons. One is black, one is white. The white one won't come forward because she was like, look at the optics of it. I'm a white girl accusing a black man of rape, which she's like, I don't want to deal with that myself, and kind of what it looks like. And so I remember like thinking about, some of the work that I've done and realizing that there are a lot of white women who won't come forward about being assaulted or beaten by black men because their families were all like, what are you doing with this N-word? And, all this stuff like that. And they didn't want their family to prove their family's right. So they remained silent about the stuff that they were experiencing. It's such a tough negotiation being a woman. The mental gymnastics we make. You know, I've never reported any of the men that have assaulted me. One, because I don't believe I'll be believed. And two, I don't want it being used against me, particularly as a sex positive feminist who's open about sex and sexuality and things like that. The first thing people say, oh, well, you're just broken and you're fucked up because you were raped. And it's like, not really. That's not it. You know, so it is what it is.
And look, I'm no scholar on any of these issues, so I walk into this door very ignorantly. But it just seems like the weight of having to think about optics when you're part of like one or several marginalized communities. Yeah. Like I think back to the Rosa Parks versus whoever that chick was
Claudette
before.
Colvin, who is still alive and lives in the Bronx.
But there you go. That was the woman, and correct me if I'm wrong, she was like young, pregnant, unwed. She didn't want to leave the back of the bus first.
Yeah. So actually what happened,
front of the bus,
what happened was, so she was a teenager and she ended up becoming pregnant out of wedlock, and she was the first, but she wasn't planted like Rosa Parks was.
She wasn't a good poster child.
No, because Rosa Parks was a plant. Like she planted herself to defy that, because Claudette Colvin, it was an organic situation. She was in the front and she didn't want to move. And she said, I'll never forget this quote. She said, I had Harriet Tubman on one shoulder and Sojourner Truth on the other holding me down. I could not leave. And she was arrested. And it was her case, along with 4 other women, that went to the Supreme Court. And Rosa Parks worked on that case. So that's what a lot of people don't know about that history. Rosa Parks got involved because she worked with, that particular case, defending those women, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And that was the case that ended bus segregation, not Rosa Parks' situation. So she went and sat and acted as a plant to spark the movement to increase support for this case they were taking to the Supreme Court.
Is that kind of like with Me Too, where someone who maybe isn't the most appealing to the mainstream population actually started Me Too, but hey, Alyssa, what is her name? Alyssa Milano?
Yeah.
That's how dumb I am.
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano says it, and now look at this leader of the movement.
Yeah, no, so that's what happened. But one thing I dig about Alyssa is Alyssa will be quick to be like, oh, it wasn't me. Oh, I didn't know. Here's the person, and has amplified Tarana. I know Tarana. That's my sister. I love her to death. We're from the Bronx, right? And she's been doing this work for a long time, and she has been able to get the recognition because of people like Alyssa saying, look, my bad. I didn't start this. I didn't realize that this was a thing, but let's make sure that people know what's been going on. There's others that won't do that, right? And it's like, that's where we as Black women who are organizing, this is what I talk about in my book, those of us that are organizers and that are using digital spaces to create these kinds of movements, we get so frustrated because we're like, we have been doing this. Why does it take co-signing from a white person or from a man to validate the work that we've been doing? It's not right. So I think, I have some younger folks that look up to me and I'm like, you guys continue to fight. I'm kind of retiring a bit because I'm tired and I feel like I've done enough. And so I want to focus on not having to set an alarm in the morning.
Focus on your sweats.
Focus on my sweats and my writing.
I have back shots.
My back shots. I have another book proposal to put together. My dream was always to be someone who could die just writing books.
Yeah.
Somewhere, wherever I want to live. Whether it's in another country or just, I moved over here because when I first moved to Philadelphia, I moved into like North Philly by Temple. It's very urban and things like that. I moved out to the outskirts because I wanted to live in a house in a quiet neighborhood. I was like, I'm getting old, man. Like,
You're not old, though.
No, but I'm not old. But I said I'm getting old. I'm
whatever.
aging, and I'm getting towards this place where, I have this very much like get off my lawn approach to life. Like, I don't have time for this anymore. I have speaking engagements. People come and ask me, well, how do you talk to white people about race? I was like, I don't. I'll save that for my younger brothers and sisters, my folks out there that want to put in that effort and they want to go back and forth or whatever. I'm going to smoke a blunt.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink my wine. I'm going to watch some Netflix. You guys got it. Because I feel like I've done it for so long.
Right.
So I don't have to. I have a porch.
I gotta imagine that the fight just ages you at some point.
It does.
Like, faster.
It does. I started realizing the health effects of things. Being hyper visible on social media, like it draws people into wanting to attack you all the time just because you're visible. And they feel like you don't deserve it for some reason. There's this whole like, well, why do people like her? And why is she so popular? What have you done? Right? There's this backlash against people.
They say, what have you done to you?
Yeah. All the
They're
time.
like, well, here's some Amazon links.
All the time. No, all the time. So there's this backlash against people with like blue check marks, right? The verified accounts. And you're like, oh, they give anybody a blue check. And I'm like, you could get one too if you submitted your ID and proved who you were, right? Like people don't seem to understand that.
Or proved you were half important.
Proved that you were something, right?
I'm a quarter important.
Right.
I
I woke up one day and I logged on and I had a verified account. And, it was like, okay, cool. But for me, it's like, yeah, my name is trademarked. So this blue check is nice, but I actually, United States trademark, like I own this name. So I already know who I am. I don't need Twitter to verify me. But for me, it's like there's a backlash against, people who they think don't deserve notoriety or fame or whatever. And I've never chased fame. I'm like, give me the fortune without the fame. If I can sit in my house and make money and not have to see none of you motherfuckers, that's the life. But unfortunately, being a Black woman, I have to work harder. I have to go out there and push my book harder than a man would or than a white person or a non-Black person would. So I have to be visible and I have to keep engaging my audience and keep getting people to, hey, subscribe to my Patreon, buy my book, support this thing that I'm doing constantly. But I wanted to be able to do it from the comfort of my own home. That's what I do now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
What do you think? You like? I got my nice little spot here.
You got your castle.
Got my Prince albums up there, and I'm a vinyl person. You see, I got my record player right there. And
you got coasters. That's more than I have. Yeah, no. Hey, I got 3 roommates in Bushwick, so it's
that makes sense.
Although I do have a washer, dryer, and
You're
a dishwasher.
In Bushwick.
Like
look at that! You're in Bushwick.
I'm in Bushwick where everyone else with my face lives now.
You're absolutely right. Either that or it's South Philly. It's funny because, I moved to Philly and didn't realize that like washer, dryer, dishwashers were standard. Like pretty much. It's like if you didn't have one, like, are you even living? Yeah. So I'm coming from New York where I'm paying $1,200 for a 1-bedroom in the Bronx. And I'm coming down here paying $1,300 for a 3-bedroom house with a garage and a porch and a parking spot and washer, dryer, dishwasher, all brand new hardwood floors. I was like, man, as a freelancer, right? You could live anywhere. So why live in the city that is draining my soul and my pockets? Do you edit these?
Do you want to say something that you don't want on air?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
No, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, no. What am I going to just be like, yeah, no, I guess we're following. I'm not going to pull the Holly Randall mistake where I'll tell you when you get back down. That was embarrassing.
What do you expect?
Oh, you're fun. So I was in LA a few months ago, and I was talking to this woman, Holly Randall. She's a porn director. Sure. So we're in between the regular episode, and we did like a quick bonus, but in between she had to go to the bathroom. But I didn't know that's what she was like walking to. So we were talking. I just was like following her around her house. Then she starts to walk to the bathroom. She's like, "Oh no, this is the bathroom." I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't try to like follow you to the bathroom." But I totally followed her into her bathroom.
I don't know the last day I haven't had a drink. But that's just,
That's how I've been with weed the last like 6 months.
No, me too.
Well, I used to not smoke weed, and all of a sudden I started smoking weed, and then I really started smoking weed.
I switched to edibles and like vaping. And so I want to start, like, I want to get to a place where I'm waiting for Philly to decriminalize this shit. Because once they do, my edible business is going to be sick.
That's the next transition?
Oh my gosh.
Edibles, writing and edibles. Listen, and not tweeting.
So, right. So here's the thing. Like, everybody does the gummies and the baked goods and things like that. Like, I want to make chicken wing sauce. I want to make like stuff like infused hot sauces and marinades and things like that. Cause I'm a cook. I cook too. So that's, I'm an avid cook. I share recipes on my Patreon. But I want to get to a place where I'm infusing every fucking thing.
Yeah, no, just embrace the gaff.
This is whatever. I want to get to a place where I'm like infusing everything. I want infused salad dressings. Like I know how to make my own salad. I know how to make my own ketchup too. Like so I'm gonna take all this fucking cooking skills that I have and infuse that shit with some THC.
At 40, you're going to transition from feminism to culinary arts.
I'm going to transition into street pharmacy. Okay.
While Ubering. In your sweatpants.
I'm going to do it's
with
gonna
a
be
big
like,
ass sign that says, no, you can't have my phone number.
Oh, no, it's going to be like Uber Eats, but for drugs.
But you know that's going to be, Uber will instantly be doing that.
The minute that this stuff gets decriminalized like
nationwide.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because like now you go to DC, they got the apps, you can find out where it is. People are delivering stuff. It's great. I've been out to like Portland, Seattle, like, Denver, all these places. I'm like, the industry is here. Like Philadelphia could benefit so much.
But will it? Because I'll put it this way, the people who should get to benefit from it, will they be allowed to?
Well, that's part of the thing is like, Philadelphia has the highest poverty rate of any large city in the country, right? We're at almost 26% poverty rate. The national average is 13%.
Amongst all people or just like people of color?
No, everybody. Okay. Well, the city is 43.4% black. Sure. A lot of people don't know that Philly is damn near half black.
Well, every time y'all are doing well in football, they tend to show a lot of white guys in jerseys.
Of course, right. So because that's what it is. But the city is almost half black, and the poverty rate is the highest of any city with over 1 million people. And so poverty here is racialized. And when you think about mass incarceration and all of that other shit, it's like Philly has to decide: are we making more money from locking them up, or will we make more money from getting, taxing them on doing the drug stuff? And I don't think Philly knows what to do with that. Philly makes the worst fucking decisions for everything. I swear on everything. I'm like, I could solve poverty here in 5 years if you gave me the resources to do it. They don't want to do it.
When's re-election for mayor in Philly?
But it's not necessarily the mayor so much as it's like city council. We have this really interesting, like our laws, what the Black and Brown Workers Cooperative call it, councilmanic privilege. Once you become a council person, you're pretty much there until you die. It's hard to vote people out here. And so you have the same people doing the same shit. It's really corrupt and it's hard to, to make anything. And that's kind of why I retired. I was like, you know what? I think I'm fighting. I'm like I'm on a hamster wheel. It was just getting to me. I was like, nah.
Well, fuck Twitter. When are you going to run for the office?
You want me to get shot? No,
I don't know the culture of Philly. Look at me.
I get asked that a lot, and politics just isn't my lane. I want to be able to go on Twitter or social media or anywhere and say what the fuck I want. And I don't want to have to censor myself for the sake of holding an office.
You think these particular constituents are going to care that you said something that like some 25-year-old white lady blogger didn't like?
They will, because the people that actually show up to the council meetings and the things like that are those folks. And I get on the young people all the time. I'm like, you all are like, you say you want revolution, but you guys don't even show up to the meetings where they had the votes on the things that affect your lives. You know what I mean? I'm like, you can tweet about it and you can chant about it and protest at City Hall, but when they have those precinct meetings and those council meetings,
the boring stuff,
the boring shit that you guys don't want, the zoning meetings, you all hate gentrification, but you don't show up to zoning meetings. If you showed up to the zoning meetings, you could shut all of this shit down. You know what I mean? And you're not doing it. So I'm like, it's one thing to be grassroots and to be, the face of whatever. But if you're not affecting the policy, ain't shit getting done. And I think for me, again, I've kind of gotten to this place where I'm just tired.
Sure.
So, I'm just like, maybe I can mentor some other folks, and I do. And I can mentor some younger folks and say, well, look, this is what I think guys should be doing. But I just don't have it. I just want to be able to write my books and, again, sit on my couch and smoke weed. That's the other thing. I wouldn't be able to smoke weed. I'm not giving that up.
I'm not going to tell you to. I'll still tell people to vote for you. I'm going to say she smoked some weed and cast a vote.
Run for, city council.
Just don't smoke before you vote because you want to make sure you hit the right button. But then, after,
there's certain aspects of my lifestyle I'm not willing to compromise. Sure. Identifying as a queer person, I have a pride flag in front of my house and on my car. I know that driving around, even when I drive Uber, that it's risky, right? If somebody comes from behind and they see the flag, is this going to be somebody who's going to want a gay bash, right? you just never know. I've already had men like try to talk to me while I'm going into my car and they see the flag and they're like, oh, what a waste of a woman. And I'm like, well, you don't even know what it's representing, but okay. But you've decided that's already know you're ignorant. So fuck you. So having to deal with that stuff, it's like all the stuff that goes into politics, just being a straight white man is enough. Then being a straight black man is enough. Then a straight white woman, then a straight black woman, then a queer, it's like, by the time you get down to where I am, it's like, y'all got it. And I talk about my mental health all the time. I live with psychiatric disabilities. And so it's like, add all of that shit to it. I feel like I have more power at my fingertips by being who I am online than I would sitting at a city council meeting, being in a minority vote, I respect them though. Like I support like Senator Hughes and Street. They're up there in Harrisburg fighting for us all the time and they get shut down all the time because they don't have the votes. But it's like, I can't spend my life constantly feeling like I'm fighting. And I'm not going to get any headway because we're in a red state. Like what the hell? It's not going to happen. So I don't know.
Well, I hope you get to enjoy yourself on the couch a little bit more now.
I do.
Moving forward.
I do.
Before we go, are you down to do maybe an extra and you can kick me the fuck out if you need to. You're down to do a little 1020 bonus episode that's Patreon. All right. Fine. Well, Feminista Jones, where can people find you? Where can they buy your new book, your old books?
Yeah. So somebody asked me the other day, like, you have a business card? I was like, I don't need a business card. I'm Feminista Jones. All you have to do is look me up. And so feministajones.com. I am Feminista Jones on Twitter. I am Feminista Jones Official on Facebook. I am Feminista Jones on Instagram. I worked on branding really hard, to be able to lock all of that stuff down so you can find me anywhere. My new book, again, is called Reclaiming Our Space, How Black Feminists Are Changing the World from the Tweets to the Streets. You can go to reclaimingourspace.com. It is out by Beacon Press, which is a really great publisher. It's everywhere. Like you can order it Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, whatever. Go to your local store. If they don't have it, ask them for it. The libraries are picking it up. It's somebody in Toronto told me like, I bought the last copy of your book. So it's like selling out places. People are really excited about it. Barnes and Noble featured it on their Twitter account along with Michelle Obama's book. And like, I was like, what? So, but that's why we put it out now, because we could get ahead of Black History Month, Women's History Month. So yeah, I mean, follow me on social media, hit me up. I'm always interested in learning more about the people that follow me and engaging folks. That's really what it's about. And just go to my website, feministajones.com, and learn everything you need to know about me.
Fantastic. Well, all my $5 and up fan whores, you can hear some more of us talking tomorrow. But for now, why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Goodbye, whores.
Really, the last thing you should do to any white guy is make him feel special. Don't call me a different kind of white. Now I'm going to think I'm cool. That's not a good idea. This ego is inflated enough. That was such a fun conversation. I hope you really enjoyed it. Again, the book is Reclaiming Our Space. You should go check that out. Let us both know what you thought about this week's episode. You can give us a shout out on Twitter. She is at Feminista Jones. I'm at the Billy Presida, and you should use the hashtag #ManWhorePodcast. Let us know your comments, your questions, your queries. I also have a fantastic Facebook page. We post all sorts of fun content over there. Starting to get a little bit more into the memes. You can go like the Man Whore Podcast on Facebook. Want to send me your comments, your questions, your titty pictures? You can send that on over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Love getting your emails. It's like my favorite thing to wake up to. Become a member of my fan whore community on Patreon. Not only will you be supporting this podcast, keeping a roof over my head, and making it possible for me to take trips to Philadelphia or Las Vegas or California, you'll also receive so many killer rewards. Tomorrow, we have an awesome bonus episode with Feminista Jones available to all of my $5 and up patrons. You also get access to a super secret Facebook group called the Champagne Room, and all my $10 members like to send each other naughty photos in the peep show. Become a member today and go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, Patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Can't wait to see which city gets activated first for Tour de Manwhore. That's pretty dope. I love that it's picking up steam. Today, actually, as I record this, I'm going to be heading over to record an episode with the very funny, very dark, very Scottish Daniel Sloss. Start getting psyched for that one, everybody. It's, oh, Jesus, I just saw his new show, Daniel Sloss X, at the Soho Playhouse. So phenomenal, so good. He's such a killer and so accidentally woke. Kind of, sort of like yours truly. Can't wait to chat with him next week. But until then, everybody, stay slutty.